welcome back to Green-Eyed Starlet. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Brandy and I'm working to live a life worth living through art, movement, and exploration. So apparently you guys really enjoy when I unscript my videos or when I don't script my videos. And I'm kind of curious as to why, because even me watching these videos back, I go, huh? What was she talking about? But if you guys enjoy the unscripted Brandy, if you enjoy me unfiltered for the most part, because I can still edit these videos, then I'm gonna give that to you, and I'm just gonna count the days until someone goes, hey, can she start scripting her videos again? Because this is getting a little out of hand. You've been warned. So in today's video, I want to kind of discuss what we can do when we feel like we are stuck. If that sounds like something you would be interested in watching, then give this video a big thumbs up because it helps me out a ton, and keep watching. So in my personal opinion, there are many different forms of being stuck or blockages that you could face in your life. I really don't like the word blockage. I didn't realize I didn't like the word blockage until right now. But like I said, there are many different forms of blockages that you may face. I have to look up a better word for blockage. Give me a second. Wait a second. Okay, let's see. Blockage. Can we get some synonyms? Obstruction, stoppage, block, clot, hindrance, impediment, congestion. Yeah, none of these words sound great, which I mean, I guess it's not a great thing in life to feel blocked. See, blocked and blockage sound way, okay, we're getting away from the topic of the video. Let's say, obstructions. Is that a better word? We'll just go with stuck. So there's many different ways that you can feel stuck, in my opinion, from having writer's block to having a creative block, or you could be stuck mentally, physically, emotionally. You can be stuck or blocked in a lot of different ways, and I think that's really important to note when you're going through your life. There are many different ways that you can feel stuck in your life. You can feel stuck in your job, you can feel stuck in bed if you feel like you can't get up out of bed. There's just many different ways to feel stuck. Now, I don't think it is hard to identify when we feel like we have gotten stuck in a situation or in a place. Like, I think we've all been there, done that, kind of understand what it feels like to be stuck. I think the difficult part comes from identifying why we're stuck, why we are in this situation, why we feel like we can't move forward with whatever we're doing. And from that, how can we get unstuck once we do identify why we are stuck? Does that make sense? And this may just be for me, but I personally believe that every time that I have been stuck on something in my life, it is due to being hyper-focused on the situation. What do I mean by this? Well, I'm gonna use the example of writer's block to kind of use in this metaphor. But basically, if you have writer's block, if you're sitting there, you're trying to write a piece of paper or art or poetry, whatever you may be trying to write, and you're sitting there and you're looking at the page and you just can't come up with anything. It's not that you can't come up with any words. You know words, you can think of words, you can think of the English language or whatever language you do speak, and you can write words. That's not the problem. You don't have an inability to write words. You have an inability to think of something that would work with what you're already doing, because you're so focused on how you want this to be perfect or how you want this to sound or be, that you're so focused on the paper, on the words, that you can't come up with the next perfect word or the next word that can even flow seamlessly into what you've already written. And this can become an even bigger problem when it starts to make us aware of our own self-confidence and might start to make us doubt ourselves about what we've already created, what we've already written, what we've already painted, whatever it may be. We can start to look inward and be like, okay, if I'm so stuck right now, maybe it's because everything I've written previously just doesn't work. I will use the example of making YouTube videos for myself is a huge place that I face creative blocks in my everyday life, and that is, I get a ton of video ideas in my head. There's so many things that I want to talk to you guys about, but when I sit down in front of the camera, if I have something, an idea that I'm not completely in love with at the time, and I've written maybe some of a script, maybe I haven't written any script at all, and try to just film whatever comes to me, a lot of the times I can sit there for hours and hours being like, I don't know if what I said makes sense or if what I said is good enough to be in video form for the internet and stuff like that. And then it makes me really hate the idea or the topic of the video in general. I've faced this with many videos in the past, and sometimes because I'm up against a deadline of like when I post and stuff like that, I force myself and I push myself through that blockage or that stoppage, or all of these words are disgusting, but I push myself through feeling stuck and I push myself to finish the video, and when I come out the other side, 95% of the time, I really hate the video. Like, obviously I find redeeming qualities in every bit of it, but at the end of the day I'm like, oh, this could have been so much better if I had just given myself more time, if I had given myself a different idea at that time. And that's one of those things that I don't want us to face as a community here, is making something because we've forced ourselves to make it and then being dissatisfied or disappointed that we made that thing in the first place. So how can we fix this? Because obviously the whole point of this video is what we can do when we feel stuck. So how do we change this? How do we remove these blocks from in front of us and move forward with whatever we're trying to create? Well, a lot of the times I think that there's this idea of, oh, just turn your brain off for a while. And while I understand where that concept and that idea comes from, I don't think that's exactly what we should do. I don't think we should just turn our brains off completely. Like, I don't think we should hop back into bed, pull the covers over our head and go to sleep, and that's just gonna magically fix everything. It might. A good nap could do a lot of good for a lot of people, but in my opinion, I think that we need to stop hyper-focusing on that thing. Don't turn your brain off, but allow it to pivot and just wander off. Now, I know this is gonna sound super hippy-dippy to a lot of people, to just allow your brain to wander off, but I think it is very, very important to allow your brain to wander and play whenever it can. And you might be like, how can I do this? Well, one important thing, if you are sitting down at the computer or at the desk and you're trying to write things down, you're trying to get out this project or whatever you might be working on, even if it is mental, physical, or emotional blocks, or you feel stuck in one of those ways, it is important to just take a step back, maybe leave the room. Changing up your environment can be one of the biggest and most important things to allowing your brain to disconnect from whatever you're working on and allowing it to be like, oh, new room, new scenery, this is cool, stuff like that, and it allows it to start wandering. A big thing, which I know a lot of us can't do currently, but going out into the world, like just going for a walk. We can still go out into the sunlight, just allowing your brain to relax there, maybe feel the sun on your skin, or if it's raining, maybe go out in the rain, stuff like that, changing up your scenery. Me personally, one of the biggest changes of scenery that helps me when I feel blocked or stuck is getting in the shower and taking a shower. And now I know I've talked about this many times, as I am a Cancer baby, water sign galore. I love taking showers. I love being at the pool, at the beach. That is where I feel the most happy, but that's also where I have the most ideas. Like, my shower ideas are some of the best ideas that I have in general. Like, I wish I had like a whiteboard in there that I could write on, which I probably should get, or something like that. Something that I can write on in the shower that doesn't wash away, that it can be like, here's another shower thought from Brandy. But really, just changing up your scenery. Another really great thing to do to allow your brain to kind of play around, to wander, is like silly games, like little mindless games, whatever it might be for you. It can be completely different for everybody. Some people might like things like Candy Crush or stuff like that. Just allowing your mind to aimlessly do something but still be thinking about everything. Stuff like that might help. For me, another thing that really helps is music and moving my body. Doing things like that can really help just allow your brain to be stimulated in a new and different way. It is so important to allow your brain to wander and play if you want to get those creative juices rolling, if you want to try to get out of that stuck position that you feel in, because I'm gonna use a concept that I really am taking a lot from Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. But when you are so hyper-focused on something, when you are so tightly wound around one thing and one thing only, it's almost as if you were a house. If your brain was a house, you have all the doors closed, you have all the windows and the shutters closed to the outside world, to ideas and inspiration. You are just a locked down, house. But when you allow the brain to wander and play, it really allows you to, open up the shutters, open up the windows, allow that nice breeze to roll in, and it's really allowing inspiration to come rolling in. It allows ideas to come rolling in because you have invited those ideas and those inspirations and motivations to come into you when before you were so hyper-focused that you were just a tightly wound ball. Nothing could get in because you weren't giving yourself space. And I think space, I've talked about many times, space is such an important part of our lives, to hold space for ourselves, to hold space for our emotions, to hold space for our ideas and stuff like that. Because when we are a locked down facility, nothing's coming in. Nothing's getting out though either. And that's where we get stuck in everything that we can possibly get stuck in, even emotionally. When we're not allowing emotions to hit us and touch us and move us, then we can't expect for emotions to come out of us. And that's when we start to feel numb and maybe move into anxiety and depression and stuff like that, because we are ridding ourselves of all emotions. You know, we're not allowing emotions to come in or move out, and we just become this ball of nothing in a way that sounds really deep and dark, and I didn't mean like a ball of nothing, but it kind of makes sense in the idea that if we're not letting things in, we can't let things come out. So if we're not allowing those ideas to come in and move through our brain, to speak to us, to resonate with us, what can we expect to come out onto the page, or to come out onto the canvas, or into a YouTube video, whatever it may be? I know it may be hard to step away from whatever you're working on, especially if you're someone like me who does procrastinate to the last minute, and then when you procrastinate to the last minute and you don't have a lot of time to work on the project and then you get stuck, that is the worst, because in your head you know, like, okay, I need to take a step away and, you know, remove myself from the project so that I can get some new inspiration, some new motivation, and then I can come back to it. But when you wait to the last second, you're like, I can't leave it, because if I leave it, it's not gonna get done. But it is so important to just take a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break, as small as you can. We're not leaving the project to go procrastinate more. We are going to allow the brain to just sit and wander and just quietly think to itself, you know? The brain is so interesting, and if you've ever taken one of my yoga classes, you know that I talk about the brain and the mind at the end of class, and how it has so much control over the things that we do, the things that we say, the way that we feel. But at the end of the day, we have control over those thoughts, and I really think it's important to listen to your own thoughts. Because every now and then I have a thought that I'm like, where did you even come from? Like, who sent you into my brain? And I think it's that openness of just allowing things to come in to you, allowing things to resonate with you. And you may think of that one thing that you have been working for your entire life. You may find your purpose that way. You might find, you know, which job you want to take that way, or what thing you want to create. It's really, really important to hold space for your thoughts so that you can turn them into something that we put out into the world. So at the end of the day, I think the best way to get unstuck is to give ourselves space, to switch up our environment, to maybe play some games, to listen to some music, just to allow the mind to wander and play and welcome in whatever is going around up here that may be giving you an idea or some inspiration or some motivation into whatever you're working on. So those are definitely the biggest things that I do when I feel stuck. But I want to know from you guys, what do you do when you feel stuck, or when you feel like you have some kind of blockage or obstruction, whether that be mental, physical, or emotionally? What are some things that you do to get unstuck? Definitely leave those down in the comment box down below, because I would love to hear, and I'm sure it will help someone else down there in the comments. Let's try to help each other out as much as we possibly can. Okay, Melosferas, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please, please, please give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're not already. I post videos every Wednesday and Saturday, sometimes Mondays, and you don't really want to miss out on a single one. I love you guys so incredibly much. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and I will see you soon.